Yeah, it is recording now. Yeah, right. So because my desk space is already closed, I think I have converted into cloud environment. Okay, right. So setting step, staging environment for data migration is what the first thing we do. Second, we need to extract the data from existing system. Okay, if you are following the ETL process, this is what something we have to do. Extract the data from the existing system. The third, in this load information, what are the information we have into the staging database? Okay, what are the staging database we have created? So there you have to load the data. This is where generally we have to do it. Okay, load the information to the staging database. So once we have load this data, make sure we have to clean the data and transform information prior to uploading to the new system. Okay, because that is a required, because you have to clean the data, you have to transform the information prior to uploading the data. And this is all the next step, it comes in the ETL process. Next process is to locate and extract and migrate existing documents and images. This is all something comes under the ETL process. If someone is asking you how the ETL process happens, right? So what are the different steps you have followed if you want to transform the data, right? If there is any kind of questions you come across, this is an answer for that. ETL process is an answer for that. This is point number 4. Next, vendor output creation. Okay, vendor output creation is the one. Normally in this vendor output creation, here what we do, here based on the vendor need, based on the vendor need, we need to output the data as the format required by the user. Okay, right? So whatever the kind of format they required, that's where generally we have to do it. This is where generally we have to output the data, right? So if you want to output the data, we need to see what kind of format. For example, it can be an XML format, or it can be a JSON format, etc. Right? So what kind of file format they require? This is all something which comes under the vendor output creation. Next is testing and go live. This is what something we have to do. Here we schedule to load the data into staging database for iterative testing. Okay, for iterative testing until approved, because this has to be approved usually by the customer, because customer has to be approved. So that here we schedule the loading the data into the staging database, so that iterative testing until the customer is in approved and all. This is all something we have to do. So once it was approved, we have to arrange the final extract and processing this for go live. Okay, this is what generally the migration process, data migration process, being into business analysis or a business analyst, one should be knowing. Because again, I'm repeating one more time, nowadays most of the projects were data migration projects going on. Requirements maybe in future they may ask you, have you participated in any data migration? If yes, what was the process you have followed and how? If someone is asking, This is an answer for that. Clear? Understood? Bhavik, Tanvir, Anthony, Gurpreet,
Yes, sir.
So Raj, I have a quick question.
go ahead.
For the second step, the ETL, part C, I don't understand what you mean by clean and transform.
Means data you
information.
have to clean, right? Unnecessary data you have to remove.
Okay,
Because
okay.
see, normally whenever you want to transform the data, for example, I'll give you a simple example to you. For example, you are, I'll give you a simple scenario to understand for you. You have purchased a new laptop, okay? Now you want to transform your old data to the new system, new laptop, because you are using a old laptop for a very long time. Now you have taken a new system, new laptop. Whenever you want to use your new laptop, what is the first thing you do? You have to do the data transformation. Am I right? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Tanvir, right?
Yes.
Now, when you, because being an individual, think in a practical manner. When you want to transform, what is the first thing you do? Whatever the unnecessary files, first you want to delete all this. Because there will be a lot of unnecessary files will be there as long as we are working on the system for a long time. Sometimes there will be some unnecessary files or some duplicate documents. Everything will be there in the there in your old system. What you want to do whenever you want to transform the data to the new laptop, what is the first thing you do? You try to remove all the duplicate files, etc. Am I right?
Yes.
Next, at the same time, there will be some, maybe some photos or images which are not so clear, which are not necessary. For example, that time we have taken those images and photos are not needed now. You want to take it out. So what is that you do? Simply, you have to clean the data. Am I right?
Yes.
Unnecessary, which are not clear, not required, you want to delete all that. That is what we call it as cleaning. Understood? Clear?
Yes. Thank you.
Because see, whenever we work, especially for the projects, some files and all, everything will be duplicates. Duplicate data will be there. So when you are blindly transforming it, sometimes what will happen immediately, that file for again you have to put some effort. Even on the duplicate files also you have to put some effort to change the file formats, which is an unnecessary task. Especially when you are migrating the file formats to the new files like XML, JSON. Normally in data migration, what we do, first of all, we clean the data. Whatever the data you want to transform, you keep it only that. The remaining unnecessary stuff, normally we delete. Then only we transform. So it is your burden will come down. That was the point.
Okay.
Clear, anyone? Everyone? Son.
Yes.
Any questions apart?
No.
Any questions?
No question.
Okay, right. So why? Because this is what data migration. Now coming back to the point. This is where generally, because MySQL, because this is all migrate, because the SQL Server or SQL, whatever the SQL are we talking about, SQL is also for data only. Okay. So MySQL Workbench, I don't say it is only for data migration, but majorly it is used for the data migration also, because nowadays, because see, MySQL also, every time they have to change their mode, right? So they have to upgrade their application, they have to upgrade their software, okay, for the new requirements and all. That's the reason why it was given as MySQL Workbench for enhanced data migration, they have told. So if you want to migrate the data, you can use it, because here you can see MySQL Workbench 8.0.36. So here you can see here, if you want to go to the download here, you can see, you can click on the download page and you can do the download. So when you are downloading, it will show you the instructions to you. You can follow the instructions and all, and it will ask you if there is any server. Automatically it will, because you don't require to make any changes when you are installing it. But before you are going to install and all, simply see it and do it. For example, if you click on download, automatically it will download. So once it is downloaded, you just extract the files so that the MySQL will be installed automatically to your system, and this is how generally you get it. This is how
The-
generally you get it. MySQL Workbench is what something you have to use. This command line, these are all will be updated with you in your system. It will be updated, but it is not required. If you want to use MySQL and all, this Workbench 8 point, because different versions and all, not an issue, right? So because compatible versions, you have to see that compatible with 64, some are 32-bit systems, some are 64-bit compatibility, but that's not a big thing, right? So that can be ignorable, right?
The
Using
dat-
it, you can
the-
download.
The data migration would also be installed with it, and
No. See, this is not
Process.
used only for data migration, because MySQL earlier there was no option for data migration. Okay, earlier. But nowadays, what is happening? Because see, MySQL is a product. Okay, so they have to make their products compatible according to the present situation. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's the reason why they have given here MySQL Workbench enhanced for data migration. Why? Because, for example, this is not for enhanced for data migration. Whoever wants to go for data migration projects, they don't use it. End of the day, they have to upgrade their software, right? So what they have done is that earlier MySQL doesn't have any enhanced version for data migration. But nowadays it's becoming, because data migration is happening nowadays everywhere. Because it's an open source software, generally they have to make people to use the software n number of times, anytime. That was the ultimate point in any business. So that's the reason why they have given nowadays, whatever the version of MySQL Workbench are we using, this is even used for the data migration also, so that you don't require to go for some other server to server for data migration separate. So you can use the same thing even for data migration also. If there is any data migration projects, this software is compatible. That's what they are saying here. That's it. Clear?
And the server will also be installed with this, or okay.
Server will also be installed. Server will be there. You can just automatically install it and you can run that. That's not an issue. Because I don't have space in my C. Because otherwise I would have installed it and deinstall it, but I don't have a space in my D. The space is completely full because there is no space at all. Because I have used all my space. Hardly I don't have 955 MB. So I don't have space in my DC, right? So because a lot of software is installed. So that if I deinstall it and if I install it again, it will be a problem. I have done a couple of times recently. And that's the reason why I'm not installing it. If you want, in the next week, you can simply download it and you see. If you see any problem, you just share your screen, anyone share the screen, so that I will show you how to install it if you want. Clear? Understood?
Yes.
Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Right. So any questions? Any questions? Tanvir, Anthony,
No question.
No question.
Gurpreet, Navik.
No questions.
Okay. Right. So this is all about data migration, all that. Next week, I'll see some other, and next week we'll complete it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Right then. See you. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.